answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
It's 0 Dark 30. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel as we head into the darkness, blasting out of the bunker at top speed. Oh, but well below the speed limit, right? I hope you slept well, because the world actually is in a state of perpetual nightmare. So the topic now is very important. It's called Tough Guys, and the Tough Guys of SHTF. Now, let's go over just a couple of facts that have, well, been brought to the world's attention. If you're paying attention in the world, you have to pay attention or you'll never see this. And that's why we're here. And that's why you help me and I help you to see what's going on, to understand the news, so that we can make intelligent decisions about, well, our plans, what to expect, what to anticipate. I want to thank Michael Brown again, and I want to thank Heidi for excellent donations yesterday. Awesomeness. Keeping us rolling, folks, as we roll down the road into the darkness. Oh, here we go. Now, tough guys. I want to bring up some current tough guy stuff and then discuss tough guy philosophy, or failures, if you will. Number one, NATO. That's right, the North American Treaty Organization, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. There we go. NATO has decided that they're going to hold naval operations, military operations, around Russian ships. How smart is that? So you got one group of tough guys and another group of tough guys, or in the case of the U.S. Navy, we have some questions about whether or not they're guys. I guess maybe Russia, before they engage with them, should ask them how they identify. I mean, shit, as if the jokes about the Navy weren't bad enough when I was in the Marines. All right. So, yeah, we've got NATO performing military exercises in and around the Russian military. Now, this is not totally uncommon. It's not unprecedented. But what is of concern to me is that this is being done at a time when Russia is in a state of war with its special military operation, its SMO, in Ukraine. They're at a heightened state of emergency, heightened state of awareness. I mean, shit, when I was a jarhead, what happened? Well, Russia said something on the news. Well, that ruined your 72. That ruined your 96, extended weekend. Everyone has to stay on base because some politician somewhere shot his lips off. That's pretty normal, right? Or it was. So how can we expect Russia to go, oh, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and have all of the fun that you want? Ah, boy, I tell you. So that's going on there. And then this comes out, and this is of special note. The Russian military, Kremlin, is denying that Russia is getting ready for full-scale war and is going to start a draft, a military draft. Well, that's pretty interesting, don't you think? A military draft. But Russia lies. And if Russia lies, and Russia always lies, well, where does that leave us? Well, Russia must be lying. So if they say they're not going to do a draft, then they must be doing a draft. Whew, tough guys, right? Now let's talk about tough guys. Biden, who is he threatening? Who is he talking tough to out there? Xi Jinping? No, not Xi Jinping. He won't talk tough about him. Nope. Will he talk tough about Putin? Well, he talked tougher about Putin. Biden did. He talked tougher about him before the war. we called him a murderer and a thug and a couple of other things. But now, he doesn't really say much. Well, I mean, he does and he doesn't. But he's more apt, more prone to talk tough about the American people, calling us the greatest threat. We're the greatest threat to liberty, democracy, what have you. That's what is going on here, folks. We've got tough guys. Now, what do we know about tough guys? Well, let's take a look back at our younger years, if we shall. Tough guys, well, we saw a lot of them in high school. Who's tough, who isn't? Who talks tough, who doesn't? Now, sometimes tough guys would get in fights and they'd prove that they were tough. And other tough guys picked on the weak, picked on people they knew weren't a threat, but they could feel tough doing it. And then a lot of times these tough-talking tough guys who really weren't that tough ended up saying stupid shit, pushing on, shall we say, the real tough guys, pushing them, insulting them, calling them names. And ultimately, those guys would have enough of it. And they'd beat the living shit out of the so-called tough guy who thought he was all that, right? This is where we live, folks. We live in a world run by lunatic idiots. I mean, seriously, when you saw one of these tough guys smart off, right, and get his ass kicked, you knew it was coming. You're like, oh, that dude should have never said that, right? So now we got Biden, a tough-talking idiot, right? You're like, dude, didn't you see that was coming? You were being a smart ass, and that guy kicked your ass because you weren't being very smart. We've got Biden talking tough. The military under Biden is harassing, haranguing, annoying the Russian military. And they're doing the same thing over in Ukraine. And they've been doing it, folks. Now, Germany has been directly supplying the Ukrainian military, and look what Russia's doing to them, right? And just said, hey, look, we're going to take your lunch money. We're going to take away the gas that we've been supplying. How smart is that? Right? You need that Russian natural gas to keep your country from going into what the media and experts are saying is going to be massive social unrest, disorder, chaos, and riots if things keep going the way they're going. And there's no sign, no evidence that it's going to change. You can't just replace all of that gas, well, with hot air and bullshit from the tough guys. So Germany's taking itself down. Right? Tough guys make stupid decisions, say stupid things, and they get their asses kicked for it. How many times have we seen this in school? A whole lot, right? You've seen it a whole lot. The bully is really just a bunch of tough talk, and he gets his ass kicked. He gets his ass handed to him. That's what we're seeing, I believe. The tough guys in NATO, right? Every time I see one of these little fuckers talking, the German leadership, right? The Brussels leadership, of course, the American military out of the Pentagon now is really in no way imposing and impressive, at least not in my opinion. I'm sure the Russians, of course, they're going to be cautious because these people do have real weapons, but I'm sure they're not afraid of them. I'm sure they've seen all of the faults in military logic and wargaming. They study the Americans and NATO as much as we try or say we study them, probably more so, because what else are you going to do in Russia? It's winter 11 months out of the year, for Pete's sake. Anyways, I tell you, folks, these tough guys are going to cause even more trouble. Right? As if enough trouble, enough SHTF hasn't occurred. But every time they open their mouth, something worse happens. Every time they announce a policy decision, things get even more difficult. I am anticipating, expecting, and predicting even more stupidity, and some tough guy is going to get punched right in his nose. Mark my words. Folks, I'll see you at the Q&A this afternoon. And we can talk about this and anything else you want to talk about. It's your show. If you're a member of the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com, that's where you sign up to be a part of the Prepared Mind conversation on a daily basis. And I hope that you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and means of self-defense, because you're going to need it. We're all going to need it as they screw the system up and drag America down. Down. Yesterday, the Dow was up 300 points. It ended over, 1,200 down? A swing of 1,500 points to the negative. Scary, scary stuff. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Semper Fi, Godspeed.